But when it comes to Florida kayak bass fishing, all the creators suck. And that would include myself. So, why do we suck? So, this video is obviously going to be for fellow influencers in my hopes that we can kind of come together and make content that doesn't suck. And so, therefore, it is also a video for, your average viewer and what have you. But I'm sure there's quite a few that aren't going to be interested in this. But I think this needs to be put out there so that the content can get better, and when the content improves, the viewers will come. Viewers are going to want to watch content that they want to watch. It's that simple. But hear me out, and if you agree with me, disagree with me, comment below, comment your 2 cents. If you want to private message me, direct message me, hit me up on Instagram. I'll put it in the description below. And so I did just a couple little bullet points, because this sort of thing I could talk about for like an hour and I'll kind of jump all over the place. I'm actually pretty good at writing. And for that reason, like, I have a lot of thoughts. And when I just write it out, or when I just talk it out like this, um, it's kind of random. But when I write it out, I can go, oh, this should be over in this paragraph. This should be over in that paragraph. This should be in that paragraph. I can move things around and then kind of gather my thoughts together so that it seems more cohesive and flowing, and less random. So I'm going to try not to be random. I just gave myself a couple little bullet points here on a piece of paper if you're interested. There it is. Nothing fancy. It says no big creators. We don't have any. And then why? So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about how do we become big, and do it for a living, find sponsors, and create better content. And then IKL, the Influencer Kayak League, that I'm interested in starting. This isn't a sales pitch, like it is, but it isn't. I feel like everyone's like got this mindset where they're like, well, I'm better than them. Or, I don't want to work with them because blah, blah. And really, like, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're creating, less demand for what we're doing. And we're not creating content that people really want to watch. Tournament videos are cool, but they're all the same, and then some you do better, some you do worse. We got to do more. We got to do better. And but let's start where we need to start, and that's the fact that there is no big creators. I mean, the biggest now, if you include TikTok, Instagram, I have no idea who's the biggest, because I've come to find recently, my Instagram has grown from like 500 followers to 1,000 or close to it. And I'm like, okay, at this rate, I'm probably going to hit 6,000 by the end of the year. And my YouTube is more stagnant than that. But I'm noticing tons of creators, thousands, just in Florida. There's thousands of people. And I don't see anyone big, especially on YouTube. And to me, YouTube is king. Like, video in general is king, and YouTube is king of the video. Now, TikTok and Instagram, they got a foot in the equation, of course, and those followers and that content matters as well. But at the end of the day, YouTube is king. So what I'm really going to be talking about in this video is YouTube. And then on top of that, you do well enough on YouTube, you can make a living just from making YouTube videos. And so we have no big creators on YouTube like that do kayak bass fishing, like maybe not even exclusively, just mostly. Who's the biggest person? The biggest person I can think of is Chris Mitchell Fishing, and he's got like 5,000. I've got 2,000 or 2,100 or something like that. And I'll tell you, neither are big. I was talking to people, direct messaging. I maybe not, maybe don't want to say who they are, but I was direct messaging people that had about 40,000 subs, a year or two ago, and now they have a couple 100,000, and they're not in this state. And it's like, and when I would talk to them about stuff, they had a plan. They had a plan on how they were going to grow, and they were collabing. They did collab. And if you're interested in maybe the IKL stuff or something, I'll tell you who it is. But I don't really want to tell the whole world, put their business on blast. I don't think they really care that to say they were talking to me, but just in case. But like, we don't have anyone. And it's not, some people are like, oh, you just have to put out consistent content. Bro, there was one year on YouTube, I did videos every single day for over 30 days straight. And then after that, did 2 videos a week for the rest of the year. And I didn't grow. I didn't grow at all. I didn't see any difference in how I grew that year versus like the previous year. And a lot of the videos I felt like weren't the greatest videos because I was making sure that I was consistent and just putting out stuff. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up going back and deleting tons of those videos. So my channel says I have like 300 videos, but truth is I've made a lot more than that. And they're just not there anymore because they weren't great and they weren't performing well. I've also noticed with my channel in particular that some videos will not do well, and then a year or two later they just explode and go from like 40 views to like 4,000 views. Still, not a lot though. You know, I'm talking about doing this for a living, like us fishing for a living, making content for a living. Um, there's no one doing it. And so 5,000 subs, it's nothing. 10,000 subs is nothing. Sure, we would all love to be there at 10,000 subs, of course, of course. And, celebrate every milestone, of course. But at the end of the day, it's nothing. And frankly, a lot of these sponsors and stuff like that don't even want to really talk to you or give you anything that's going to really help you on your journey the way you need to be assisted when you don't have the followers, when you're not already at that level. And so, why don't we have any big followers? Because let's think about it. This is Florida. Like, and with kayak bass fishing, when people are leaving other states, it's an announcement. Oh, we're going to Florida. We're going to be around the giants. Everyone makes these big announcements that they're coming down here and they're going to fish Florida. Florida's a big deal. Why aren't we doing well as content creators down here? And I think there's a lot of reasons why. Um there is like random, like, I don't know, animosity, competitiveness, where people don't really work together on anything, and I'm dying to not have that the case, because I think that is going to be the biggest thing for us. But outside of that, it's, 4 months out of the year, we're getting afternoon showers and it's hot as heck and it's freaking hurricanes, and so it's hard to create content for like 4 months out of the year. That's a third of the year. And then a bunch of lakes that we fish end up getting choked out in vegetation during that time as well. So we can't fish as many bodies of water. And then, then there's other months where it feels like it's too cold. You go out there and you're the only one on the lake. So I know there's not a lot of other people making content then. And then we do have a big tournament scene down here. I would say is pretty big. When the Bass Nation came to Lake Kissimmee, that's a national tournament, but we had 220 something anglers turn out. And I was going to be in that tournament, but I decided not to. I'm like, I feel like I'm probably just going to throw my money away if I enter it. So I didn't enter it. And I know there's a lot of other people that I was watching from around the country that were planning on going to it. Multiple people that were planning on going to it and decided not to because we were getting hit with a bunch of cold fronts. and the fishing wasn't that great leading up to it. So it could have been a lot more than that. And a lot of these other tournaments in other states are not getting that kind of turnout. So we have a pretty good local scene down here. There's a lot of different leagues. There's a lot of different, small leagues, big leagues, and they're all. Oh, my neighbor thinks they're a race car driver. Like I've gotten multiple offers from leagues where they have asked me to come fish in their league, because if I fish in their league, I'm going to be promoting them. And I got no problem with them asking me that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But you can see, like, we're always helping someone else instead of helping ourselves. You make a tournament video where you win or you do well, that helps your views, and it will help generate people to go to their league and help them grow their league. But those videos only do so well. Like, if you have a big old bass in your thumbnail, probably going to do a little better. If you have a thing that says you won the tournament, there's no suspense. You just told everyone you won the tournament. So, but if you don't say it, then you don't get people to click on the video. So it's like, what's going to happen? And I think the IKL would be really interesting, is because you would see the back and forth. You're watching these tournament videos, they're all the same. It's just a different lake, whether you catch them or not. I mean, obviously, but the videos aren't that interesting. Everyone will do them a little differently. Some will put in some B-roll. Some will just run and gun. They're focused on fishing. Some will do this. Some will do that. Some scope. Some show their screen because they're scoping. Everyone does it a little different, but at the same time, it's like all the same video. And so I feel like the IKL stuff can be a lot more interesting. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But I do think one of the reasons why we don't have big creators is there's so much of the year that we can't consistently make content, and then we can't make good content, and then we're focusing our energy for pretty much others. Yeah, you can win a couple bucks fishing these tournaments and stuff, which is good. I mean, I would love to be one of the guys that are consistently winning in these things and winning a few bucks and stuff. But if your end goal is to fish for a living, you're better off focusing on growing your channel and growing your content and making better content for the viewers, and than you are to focus on how well you do in this tournament. You're just going to spin your wheels over and over and over. You're going to help the tournaments out. I mean, honestly, I feel like these tournaments should say, hey, you can be in our tournament, you don't have to pay anything. And I bet for some that is the case. But for me, I'm just thinking, do I really want to spend my time helping this tournament grow? Because how much are they going to help me grow? Like, what are they going to do to help me grow? Are they going to tell me, like, oh, they're biting on the south end, and then I do well in the tournament? Is that how they're going to help me grow? Because that's almost like cheating. And I'm sure some of that happens in a league here and league there with some of the influencers and stuff. But, like, how are they going to actually help you to fish full time for a living? Now, if you want to be a pro angler, you want to have that tournament experience, you're all about being pro. I got to tell you, you got to get followers, you got to get subscribers, you got to get eyeballs on you. More videos you have, the better videos you have, the more you're going to grow, the more collabs you do, the more you're working with people, and people, my audience go follow your audience, and your audience go follow my audience. We're growing together. And if we're growing together and then we keep doing that back and forth, it's like a ping pong effect. Like when the ball goes over there and the viewers go over there, you get a boost. And then when they come over to me, I get a boost. But if we're growing, it's growing. And you might go, oh, well, it's all the same people. Sure, but that's not a bad thing. And then on top of that, it's not. Because when you go look, people judge. If you got no big creators in Florida and people want to watch a video about fishing Lake Panasoffkee and they see somebody, Jacob Wheeler, going to fish Lake Panasoffkee, they're going to go, well, I'm going to click on that. Not just because he's a big name and this, that, and the other, but if they see John B. fishing Lake Panasoffkee, I bet you John B.'s video is getting more views. It's not that John B. can outfish Jacob Wheeler. He can't. Maybe on a given day, maybe, but probably not. Jacob Wheeler is Jacob Wheeler. There's levels to it. And I'm nowhere near it. I'm sure John B. can outfish me. But so I'm not trying to say anything negative about John V. I'm just saying like there's levels to things, and Jacob Wheeler's up here, and average anglers down here, and a lot of our influencers are down, above the average angler, but we ain't up there. We're not up there. We're up here, and we're trying to get up there with our skills and stuff. And that's the thing about collabing. I personally would love to get a group of guys together, and girl too, whatever, where we are solid anglers. We all have strengths and weaknesses. We help each other improve as anglers. And then on top of that, we are making content together. Like we're helping each other's channels grow. We're helping each other's content grow. And, it's competitive when it needs to be competitive, but it's not about that. You know what I mean? Like me in the IKL thing, Influencer Kayak League, it's a 1v1 league. So the videos would be really cool because you would see the back and forth and you would see like, oh, time's running out. Is this person going to catch that person, or is this person going to do that? Blah, blah. You could have suspenseful music and everything. When it's just one person watching what's happening, it's just like, oh, same old. But when you actually see who else is in the field, like Major League Fishing does this on the outdoor channel, and I like watching that. And that's the other thing is, I'm thinking we do this sort of thing for YouTube, but it's the sort of thing where like, I'm not talking about making an influencer kayak league just to make me grow. And I feel like everyone kind of has this, I get it, how the world is, you don't want to trust anyone, but I'm trying to build something with a group of people. I'm not just trying to build something for me and then, you know what I mean? Like I want it to be something that we build. And so I actually think the best way to grow the Influencer Kayak League is to make the videos and don't put it on our channels. Go to someone else and put it on their channel. Let someone else sponsor the league. Because you got to think, if we're making good content, people want that. People pay for that. And if we're bringing it to them maybe for free, at least at first, and in return, we're getting tagged in the videos and stuff like that on their channel, which would have to be a much bigger channel than ours for it to be worth it. That could be huge for us. And you go, well, who would do that? Well, there's companies. Companies would do that. Companies want content. We're in Florida. We got the longest bass are in Florida. I feel like people just crave to come down here. They want to come down here. They want to catch Florida giants. Well, we know how. We should be the biggest kayak bass fishing influencers, not the smallest. We should be the dang biggest. And we don't have anyone big. There's not a single big content creator. And I get it. It's hard to make consistent content down here because the fishing ain't always all that and the weather ain't always all that. I get it. But, I planned out 170 something videos I wrote down that I could film out of the kayak this year. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem filming 52 videos. Hopefully a lot more of them will be fishing than me talking to the camera like this. But occasionally a video like this needs to come along. It needs to happen. And for the better, of hopefully everyone involved in the future. I mean, we got to make better content, and it's easier to make better content when you're helping, when there's more than one hand involved. And the IKL, the Influencer Kayak League, I don't even think that's the answer. I think that's an answer. So I think we need to do multiple things as content creators. And I think the Influencer Kayak League is just one of them. I think it's just one. I think that's something that could be big for us as content creators. I think, you know, we're making videos where we're catching giants. We're going to, I don't know, name a place. There's a million of them. Kissimmee, Rodman, Fellsmere, Orange Lake, Okeechobee, Toho. You just go St. John's. You can go on and on and on. It's just, with Withlacoochee River, Lake Rousseau, like there's a million places that have giant bass. I mean, heck, ponds got giant bass. And that's the other thing about kayak bass fishing influencers. We're competing with pond anglers, we're competing with bass boaters, we're competing with everyone. And we really need to find a way to really just kind of appeal to who we need to appeal to. And we're in between. We're like the middle child here. We're not the pond anglers. I've bank fished heck my whole life. I'm 39. So I've bank fished my whole life, and I've caught tons of giants. I got to the point where every pond that I was fishing pretty regularly, like I knew how to catch all the big bass there. I've caught all the pond giants at 100 something lakes, or ponds. And I got to the point where I was like, it just made sense to get into a kayak or something where I could get out on these bigger bodies of water and start catching them. And so for me, that was my journey to kayak fishing. And so we're competing with bass boaters, we're competing with john boaters, we're competing with everyone. And the thing that kind of separates us is the tournaments. So I'm not saying that tournaments are bad, they're not. But if you pre-fish, I know guys that pre-fish, a couple times for a tournament, then fish the tournament, and they don't want to show what they're doing. So either they'll post the videos way after the fact because they don't want to hurt their chances of doing well in the tournament, makes sense, or they don't even post because they don't want to give up spots and stuff like that they're going to fish in the future and this and that. And it's just like, that's really not good. It's not good for growing as a creator. It might help your tournament, but it's not good as growing for a creator. And, I know, I don't want to say names, but I know I know there's a lot of people that won't tell you what they're doing, whether it's you're just telling them the basics or what have you. They won't tell you. I try to tell you what I'm thinking. I try to get into the mind of the bass and tell you why I'm thinking and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that's helped me a little bit, but it hasn't helped me a ton. We got to do more. And so I think the IKL and just having a handful of people come together for the Influencer Kayak League to work, I think we would only need 4 people. And if I'm one, we would only need 3 more. And so, because we could do 1v1, each person does 1v1, and then that's, if for everyone to face everyone, that's 6 episodes. And then you get a ranking from those 6 episodes, whoever has the best ranking to worst. And then it's a standard tournament bracket. I did a lot of sports growing up. I was captain of my high school wrestling team. I wrestled from 2nd grade to a senior in high school, and then even after that, just for fun. So I'm pretty familiar with how tournament brackets work. Okay, so I'll just put that out there. First, we'll go against 4th. There's another one. Because if you get the best record, you're rewarded with the best record. And if you have the worst record, you're rewarded by facing the best record. So you could still beat the first ranked person and end up in the finals, but it's going to be harder. So 1st against 4th, 7th episode. 2nd versus 3rd, 8th episode. Then 9th episode would be the 2 losers face each other for the bronze match. And then the 10th episode, final episode, would be the 2 winners versus each other in the championship match. So right there we have 10 episodes. Like if you could give that to some rod company, some kayak company, some um, bait company, reel company, clothing company, you name it, you know, food, beverages, um, outdoor kind of related stuff, um, subscription company. You could just really heck, like there's there's definitely people out there that we're going out there and catching giant bass and doing some 1v1s, and we're editing some good videos where it really kind of comes together that people are going to want to see it. So you might have someone that has, you know, 75,000 subscribers or 200,000 subscribers that wants our content, and that they're going to be plugging us. And so we're going to be growing from that. And then on top of that, if it gets good enough, I'm hoping that the IKL stuff, especially the Florida stuff, can then start winning prizes. Maybe a kayak. If a kayak company sponsors it, then a kayak is on the line. Whoever wins the whole tournament. I don't know if a kayak company is going to do it unless we all have the same kayak company, though, because they don't want to see a different kayak win it. But just throwing it out there. Or maybe a motor company. Motor company might be actually pretty legit. So a motor company puts up a Torpedo or whatever, right? All you got to do is participate in 5 matches, 3 in the regular season and then 2 in the playoffs, and you could have a Torpedo. And it's just 1v1. You don't have to beat a whole field of people. So it's easier to get that as well. And then the league could grow to much bigger, could be a national thing. And then we can grow off of everyone that's involved in it is helping the thing grow, that's helping us grow. So that's just something I want to put out there. And I think we should have bigger people in Florida. It's crazy to me that we have the biggest bass, the longest bass, which matters in kayak fishing, and where are the content creators? They all suck apparently because we don't have any successful ones. We don't seem to work with the algorithm. So it ain't just me, it's everyone. We should be a lot bigger. So I'm hoping we can put something together and change that. And I think the sponsors would love to see us grow if we're making content for them and helping them do the same. So hope y'all enjoy this. I'm out. Peace. DM me if you want to see or you want to talk about this in any more detail. All right, I'm out. Peace.